remember these times specifically. His cousin would say something, and it was like the light bulb went on. And I said, I just told you that 2 weeks ago or a month ago, but I couldn't say that.
This is new information right now.
Yeah, because your boy said it to you and not your wife. And so we it's easy to diminish what your spouse is saying because you don't want to hear it. But when someone else says it, it's like, yeah. And I think the other part of that is we want the esteem and respect of our partner. But with new ideas, sometimes it's hard. You don't want to give the credit. Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ericka Young. And we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all. Let's get into it.
Hey, honey. How are you?
I'm doing good. Feeling a little refreshed. I needed to get some sleep, some rest.
Yeah, nowadays 7 hours is the minimum for me. And I didn't get 7 hours last night, but I slept pretty good. Pretty good.
I don't know that I got 7 hours, but I feel reinvigorated because we have been on the go.
Yes.
On the grind.
It's nothing like sleeping in your own bed.
Oh my God, no.
We have had the busiest week of the year, likely, besides travel.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been my busiest week.
Okay, anyway. Okay, Mr. Well-traveled.
It's been pretty demanding. But we're coming to you guys off of just having returned from FinCon. And for those who don't know, that's where all the money nerds go. And that's where we actually go and reset and reconnect and get poured into a little bit so we can be better for you all.
Yeah. Have you always thought you were a money nerd?
I didn't put a name on it for a long time. I just thought I was, money conscious or, a good steward, a bunch of different, names or cliches. But money nerd is probably a good, name for it.
So it's accurate.
I think so, Look, nerds run the world, so.
This is true.
Nerds get a bum rap. We were in school, but now nerds run the world.
You're right. The first time I went to FinCon was in 2017. Mm-hmm. And I had a mentor of mine who suggested that I go. And immediately I bought my ticket for the following year because they don't sell tickets the entire year. They have these windows of opportunity for you to participate in order to drive a lot of action. And so I bought the ticket and I was like, okay, here we go. And entrepreneurship can be kind of lonely. And I feel like I wasn't fully investing in a lot of conferences or anything like that, especially as a coach. You sit in your office or you go to an office and that's all that there is. You have to build your community. And I didn't have one at the time. And so it was stepping outside my box. I love people. But when I don't know anybody, that's always a little uncomfortable.
That could be a little overwhelming or daunting to go to a conference. Like, I'm sure people who are watching or listening have been to conferences where you knew folks. And I go to a lot of conferences for work. And you go to enough of the same things, you build a community of people that you know, and then it just feels familiar.
Yeah.
You know how it works, how it goes, and know what to expect. But you going into something blindly, it takes some courage to get out there.
Man, so that was the big thing. And back then, it was about 2,000 people who went to Dallas for the 2017 FinCon. And I was pleasantly surprised. I met friends immediately. And the coolest thing about going back every year is that you get to see all these people again. It's probably the only time you see them throughout the year. And it's just neat to reconnect. And
it's like reunited and it feels so good.
It did feel like that. So then I come back and I'm all fired up because I'm like, yes, I found my people, my money nerds. And then I was like, hey, you got to come one of these years. And so
I was like, well, this is your thing. You go do your thing.
But you had to come because the first time I spoke by myself to on a breakout session is when I said, you got to come for
Right.
this.
Right. But
And
that was fast forward a few years.
yeah.
And, and I'm sure people are like, well, why do I care? I'm not going to FinCon. Why do I care that you guys are talking about FinCon? I think you should care because this is where we actually go and we can really dig deeper and get better at what it is that we do. And we listen to feedback that you all provide, and we want to make sure that we're bringing the best of ourselves that we have to share our experiences and really to help you on that journey that everyone is taking. So,
and honestly, it was FinCon that helped us to birth this podcast.
yes.
I don't think that we would actually be doing this for better and worse without FinCon.
Man, FinCon, we owe you a shout out.
Hey.
We had to tag them in this post.
That's right. That's right.
Because I know the first year that I went, I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm here supporting you. But then I started thinking like, wait a minute, we've got a message to get out there, and I think we have charisma. What do you all think?
Wait, did your teeth just sparkle?
It's like charisma. But, I felt like it did help launch us out, and it helps us keep going because we're encouraged by other people that are out there. There's other big podcasters that we know who we become friends with. And what I love about FinCon is people don't gatekeep.
Yes.
If someone's doing something and it's working for them, they share freely and broadly. And I know those first couple of years, I just was asking people questions about, well, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? Or what about video? How do you do this? And just on and on and on. And people just freely gave me of their time and their insights. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
And so now I go back, I try to do the same thing. As I learn something that others can benefit from, I try and pay it forward and share some of those insights. So this year was good. It was interesting.
Yeah, I love that you said that they don't gatekeep because, quite frankly, that generosity, the sharing of knowledge, and all of that is what helps people propel forward. A lot of the times, these financial content creators are not making a ton of money in the very beginning.
Yes.
It's a labor of love. We spent over a year doing our podcast without a sponsor who was helping pay for some of the back end expenses. And there are expenses to produce, the podcast. But a lot of these content creators, they will give you information and help you tweak. We got one tweak this time that we desperately needed.
Yes.
and we just were having a conversation, went to lunch with someone, and he quickly share, oh, this is the fix for that. And so that was honestly worth the price of admission.
Shout out Steve Stewart. You know who you are.
That's right. Steve Stewart is the man. He's the production behind a lot of the big podcasts.
Yeah, dude is he's a genius with this stuff. So we appreciate you.
Yes.
But let's talk about, a little bit about some of the sessions or some of the things that we went through this year that, can help benefit our audience.
Yeah. So, well, here's what's interesting. I will say one of the big things that I get from FinCon every time I go is to be patient. One of the sessions that I was a part of, I can't remember if you came to this one, but this gentleman was talking about how I think you might have. You go from 63 followers on a podcast to millions of followers. And when I look at that, I so appreciate the fact that they started small. And I think a lot of times in our financial journeys, we get really annoyed with the fact that we have to be patient, right? But remembering that you started small, remembering that you started investing $100, or remembering that your emergency fund was at this lower level and then you grow, I think it's a reminder that not everybody started at the top. You know what I'm saying? There was a time when Beyonce was, in her room at home. She was dancing at home on her home videos, and her mother was pushing her to be better. And this was before the deals came. Like everybody starts somewhere. And when I see the creators going from 63 followers to 1 million, or someone on TikTok who would literally start from nothing and now they have, built a business, that is encouraging to us. And I've experienced that in my, what I call the B2B side of my business. But it's like, wow, it's a reminder, and they're reachable. After the sessions, we'll go up and talk to them, and they'll give us, tips or encouragement. And there's, like you said, no gatekeeping. I think that's a really big part of why the FinCon community is so cool.
Yeah, and I think what we're trying to do is create community here.
Mm-hmm.
And community, because I asked myself, well, why are you doing this? What is it that keeps you going? And I think about that a lot when I'm sitting in sessions, and I have to pick and choose what I go to because I was actually working and I had a lot of stuff to accomplish. So I was focused in on that. But when I could plug in, I was able to go and plug in somewhat. But I think about, why am I doing this? And it's really to create community, because there's so many people out there who are on a journey, and not just a debt journey. Some people are already past that and they're on to the next phase where they're looking to build their retirement. They're looking to create, legacy and have a generational shift where they will have going forward, a generation that can take what they've built and build it themselves. And that's what keeps me going, because I get excited about seeing people win with money and changing their family trees. And if we can keep putting down roots that help people to expand their root base and create legacy from their kids, their grandkids, their great grandkids, and beyond, that's what gets me excited. That's what keeps me going. And I go to these things because I'm looking for those nuances that we can make our content better. We can give you quality production.
Yeah.
And we want to continue to learn and gain insight so we can bring those things in addition to our lived life experiences to you all, our community that's out there that has chosen to link up with us and follow and go on this journey, because I just want to see so many more people win with money. Mm-hmm. And so that's what gets me really, really excited about going to things like that.
I have to take us back, because you remember last week I sent you this picture of us from 11 years ago, the very first time we hit a mic together.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I remember
that was so cool. So someone had invited us on their local radio show that was produced in their home. And I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, he had a whole setup in his living room.
Yes. And we went and we talked and we took a photo, and it came up on my memories. And I was like, oh my gosh, 11 years ago was the first time. And it was that day that, we left there. We had a bit of a ride home. And I was like, oh, that was a lot of fun. I could do that. We could do that.
Yeah.
And we never did anything with that excitement. We didn't have a place for it to go. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't know we didn't really, we were working. We didn't really want to be trying to figure out how to get on the local radio show. And podcasting wasn't super huge back then. And so, we didn't have a community.
It was that one little seed.
It was
that planted,
seed.
And it just grew up over years.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be where we are today.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to where we're going to continue to go. And, I think it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah. I loved going to FinCon because this is the first year in about 4 years that I haven't done any work at FinCon.
Yeah.
The first time that I went, or I should say, the first time that I did some work was I was on a panel with other coaches. And then the second time I did
you did a
breakout by myself. And then the next 2 times I was co-host with someone else at FinCon. And that takes a lot of energy. Well, hosting definitely takes energy because it's multiple days and you're on stage and you have to be on for a few hours. But the other ones, even if you're a speaker, you're thinking about your speaking event all day, if it's in the afternoon or the night before, if it's in the morning. And so you don't necessarily get to enjoy. Plus, when you're doing that and you're prepping and all that, you likely aren't even going to other sessions. So I feel like for the last 4 years prior to now, I just didn't get a chance to get the full experience. And so I was really looking forward to getting poured into and to learning and to seeing what shifts or adjustments can be made. And I wrote a list of like 5 or 6 things for us to come back and focus on to take our podcast to the next level. Or they're reinforcements, things that you have been saying, I will have to admit.
For those that can't see, it's like wink, wink. Yeah, I've been saying, but
and so
I'm gonna pause you.
Oh my
for
gosh!
right
Don't be
there,
interrupting me while I'm talking.
Sometimes you just gotta let things stew and marinate for people to figure them out on their own, and then they come along on the journey.
Okay,
and it's just like the money journey with couples. One person has been saying it, and then the other one is like, no, we don't need to do that. Then that light comes on, and then they're like, you know what, let me get on this journey with you. So I'm glad we're on this journey together now.
So now you know what it feels like, huh? This is me the whole marriage. There have been times when I would say something to him, and then his cousin, I remember these times specifically, his cousin would say something, and it was like the light bulb went on. And I said, I just told you that 2 weeks ago or a month ago, but I couldn't say that.
Like, this is new information right now.
Yeah, because your boy said it to you and not your wife. And so we it's easy to diminish what your spouse is saying because you don't want to hear it. But when someone else says it, it's like, yeah. And I think the other part of that is we want the esteem and respect of our partner. But with new ideas, sometimes it's hard. You don't want to give the credit to your partner.
I think it's interesting because it's so much like that's how relationships work. Because I could say the same thing about things I've shared with you, but I just let you get to where you're going in your own time.
I don't like this condescending attitude.
This isn't condescending.
I just let you get to where you're going. Say it again.
I just let you get to where you're going. In your own time, without pushing you or pulling you. Okay. But the good thing is that here we are on the same page. And I hope couples that are watching this, maybe you get a laugh out of this or a chuckle because you think back like you've been through the same exact experience with your spouse, your significant other. And sometimes people have to just make their own journey and get there. But we have to be persistent and consistent to just, go along the road together. So.
I think that comes back to patience. I really do. I think it comes back to patience because it is a part of the process is just making sure that you're both on the same page. Sometimes one person is getting a certain message slower than the other.
Yeah.
And being patient with them is a part of it. I know lots of people who are trying to make decisions around their money or in their relationship.
Right.
And it requires patience to ensure that you actually get on the same page. Sometimes you're not on the same page at the same time. And sometimes it just takes another person a little longer or they need certain information. And so, but here's the cool thing. One of the biggest things that I learned while at FinCon this time was your focus on the podcast is different from my focus on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I think there have been times when both of us were trying to make the other shift our focus. So you're our production guy. You're the person who's behind the scenes, making it look good, sound good, all of that. And mine, I would say, is like the marketing, promotion, and how do we reach more people? And both of those are needed.
Absolutely.
But I think there are times in this journey since we've been doing this where we wanted the other one to either fully understand or not even really take action, but to elevate. You want me to elevate the production value, and I want you to elevate the reach value. And it's really like we're doing what we need to do. If we just stay in our lane, we'll still get there. And I think that's really good in terms of couples who are differently wired in the way that they approach their finances or who does what where it concerns money. Maybe you do not have to try and change your partner. Let's just be clear. You probably won't change them. But if we can appreciate what they both bring to the table, That I think is much progress. And I don't think we give that enough credence a lot of the time because we want them to understand our point of view. But if we can do that without trying to change them, that's a healthier place to be.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you because I think that's the way it is in relationships that, if you both are doing the same thing, then one of you is unnecessary. And, it
Agreed.
becomes redundant, so why do you need two people doing the exact same thing? When you need the yin and the yang, you need both sides of things. Like we need someone focusing on the production value and someone focusing on, elevating the reach and what we're doing. And that's why we're a good team. And I think about like when people are at whatever phase of their journey, if you're at the early phase where you're getting out of debt and building your emergency fund, you got spenders and savers, and somebody's got to be thinking about, okay, we got to stay the course and stay on track, stay on plan. But then sometimes you need the other person to be like, okay, we need to have some fun along the way. So this isn't just ho hum, doom and gloom. We can't do anything. That's how we're make progress over being perfect or seeking that perfection. And I think that was good this time because I was able to talk to a lot of different people about the production value, and surprisingly, people were very pleased with what we've been putting out. And I hope you guys who are listening and watching continue to be pleased because we're going to take it up a level.
Hey, keep watching.
We're seeking to elevate everything that we do so that when we send you out content, it's something that you will love and appreciate and continue to press that like, press that subscribe.
Yes, and share. Share with your friends.
Yes.
So, what do you feel like was a big takeaway for you?
Well, one thing that I really liked is we also were looking for things that our community could benefit from.
Yeah.
And I really liked like some of the tools and some of the partners that were there. And we're going to try and, bring some tools to you that will
Stay
help
tuned.
you along your journey because those are things we didn't have some of those things and we didn't know what we needed along the road, be it, something to help us stay on track with reducing our debt, helping us to build our emergency fund, or as we transition, learning more about investing and building our portfolio that way, or if it was, paying our home off, there are different tools that are out there. And, it was interesting. I had a conversation with a company about Bitcoin mining, and I learned more about Bitcoin than I ever knew.
Yeah,
And
you were ready to buy some Bitcoin.
I almost bought some. No, not some Bitcoin. A Bitcoin is $68,000 for one. I might have bought some shares of a Bitcoin, but I learned that you could buy shares of Bitcoin. It's just interesting, and I'm not telling people to go buy Bitcoin, but it was interesting, and I feel like that opens your mind to see the possibilities.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big takeaways for me was one, finding things that could help our community on their journey and on their learning process. That's a big deal for me because we don't want to just bring anything to you all. We want to bring things that are going to help uplift you
and have quality.
And make your life easier. And then, just broadening my perspective and looking at things different, being open, because that helps us to see things differently and ensure that we're bringing our experience to bear that can help people.
Yeah.
And it's just good to get away sometimes, and we're focused on the same thing. I go to a lot of work conferences, and I'm in the zone when I'm there, so it was good to get away.
Yeah.
Even though I spent most of my time working, so
yeah. Except for Saturday. Saturday you were unplugged. So that was good. So there were lots of different sessions. So they have main stage sessions where everybody at the conference is able to get into the room, and we would have speakers who might inspire and empower us for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And then we had breakout sessions where a few hundred, 200 to 300 people could be in a room, and there will be someone talking or sharing a little bit of a deeper dive, more of a workshop type of situation where you get into the details. And we also had community conversations where you would be at the table and they would direct you on, some different topics, and you discuss it with your table so that you're getting, peer input.
Yeah, getting broader perspectives and points of view.
And then we had the expo where there were vendors and people who were wanting to work with the different creators. And so the coolest thing is last year we found our sponsor for this podcast from FinCon. If we had not talked to the vendors, we might not have had that sponsor. And so I love the fact that that type of connection and synergy can happen, because I think it's happening again. We got some more stuff that's coming down the pipeline. And so for that reason, I think it is really good to attend these types of events. The other thing that I'll say, like my big takeaway is we were in a creator breakout session, and this gentleman that I'd never heard of before, he said, you need to have big creator energy.
Whoop, whoop.
And this is totally up your alley. But for me, I'm like, I see us as a growing podcast, and that's a different word for saying small or little or new, right? And I haven't actually embodied big creator energy up till now. And when he said it, it makes a whole lot of sense that, one, you want to bring, like you say, the quality to the audience. But the other piece of this is the same as saying, like, one of the things you say again, so wise. I'm just giving you a little props here. Okay. So wise.
It.
When you go into
We're a team.
Yes. When you go into a space, act like you own that joker.
Yes.
And I think sometimes I have been like, all right, we got a little podcast, we doing it. I just want to be consistent. I want to make sure we're giving quality to our audience. But big creator energy is we going somewhere. We doing some stuff. We making a big impact no matter how many followers we have.
We are all going places together.
Yes. And so to my listeners, to the people watching, I just want you guys to understand you can have millionaire energy. You know what I mean? You don't have to spend like a millionaire. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're saying. But just, you do not have to be down and frustrated and sad about your situation. Just know that thing is changing. And at some point in the future, you're going to be able to embody what it is that you want financially. I don't know, what is it? Big investor energy or big money energy? Let's figure it out.
Remember we say they have that je ne sais quoi.
Let's see. What not you.
It was that whole, that style. Like you just walk in the room and it's like, yeah, I've been here before. I just own the room. Own the
swagger,
room.
That money swagger.
Right. Own your situation, whether it's good or bad. Own it today and have vision for what you want it to look like in the future.
Yeah.
Then take action. We've heard from people they want to know more about investing, and we're going to try and tap into some of our network and bring you people who can speak to some of that energy, because I feel like we don't know everything, but we are making sure that we tie we link those things together so that people will get exactly what they need, because I want everybody walking in rooms like they own it. And I want them owning rooms and, paying your house off and buying second homes or creating legacies that will change the outlook of your family and your future. And that really gets me excited when I think about that.
And we were rubbing shoulders with big creators. We got a chance to see big creators. These are the first places where I actually got wind of podcasters, bloggers, people who are really doing something. You big time YouTubers and TikTokers who are talking about money, and one of them
personal finance. They're talking about personal finance.
Exactly. One of the ones that I know makes an impact, is the How to Money guys. And they have 45 million downloads. It's crazy. And so they have a huge following, a big impact. And when they share the pictures from when they were back in the day, starting out, is pretty wild. And
I think it's good. I think it's good to have.
Who are some of your creators you like?
Well, I think it's good to have, a picture for, the energy and how it grows and how you build off of that. Because that shows progress over time.
Yeah.
Those guys were small, now they're big, and it's always good to see that. But, I always shout out, Andy Hill.
We love Andy. Andy's great.
He's hilarious.
Yes, Marriage, Kids, and Money is Andy Hill.
He's hilarious, and he's doing his thing. And so, there's others out there, but we're gonna work to make sure that we bring that to you. But I've got a question for you, as we, enter towards the end of this show. What was your, make it worth it, or was it worth it to take this journey, take this trip?
I think FinCon is always worth it. And the one takeaway. So now you caught me off guard, so I'm not sure what my one takeaway is. Let's see. I'll say this. I did say big creator energy is the big one that I'm going to embody, but I will also say find ways to get poured into. I intentionally wanted to sit back and listen and not be a giver this time. And so I just encourage people to get poured into, find ways to receive, instead of always giving. In your work or in your marriage or with your kids. Just find ways to sit back and get poured into. Let somebody else do some of the giving sometimes, because it felt good. It felt good. I could just relax and I didn't really have to work. I actually didn't turn my computer on the entire time. I brought my computer, but I didn't turn it on the entire time. And so that was very intentional and refreshing for a change. And so I was able to think, and I was able to plan and consider what's next, for us. And so that felt good. Was it worth it? Absolutely. I got a time to get poured into. What about you?
Well, I think it was worth going, and just some of the conversations I had, as I'm looking to increase the production value, it was reaffirming, reassuring that we're doing the right things. But what I also took away was that it's okay to be wherever you are. And I liken that to just, the journeys that people take in their personal finance. You're at a point, but that's not where you have to stay.
Yeah.
And, you can build and go to the next level based on the decisions you make and how you decide to move. And so I felt like it was good to know that, hey, we're growing, and we're going to continue to deliver high quality, high value content, and that people, want to hear that. And we're looking to hear from you all so that we can make sure that we're staying on track with what you want and what you need to hear.
Yep.
And so I felt like it was definitely worth it. So
awesome. Well, I'm excited. I'm so glad that we did it, and it's time to get to work now. Now that we're back. So this has been good, honey.
Yeah. Stay tuned, and until next time,
we're out.
Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on ForBetterandWorth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.